Chicago. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Donte Chase Bridges at Scene Chicago/UBM. Give it up for yourselves. Because in a world full of hate, who's going to do that for you? I am your host, Donte Chase Bridges, a.k.a. Donte Chase Bridges, never needed an a.k.a., along with my co-host, state your name, brother.
Steven, City P. Watson, we back at it again. Another beautiful Tuesday afternoon.
Yes, we are. He's going wild.
Going wild, right?
Yes, he is.
Is he that popular?
He's doing that. So,
That's
Kim,
right.
I just said your first name. I need to know your last name. What's going on with you?
Kim Brio here. You rang. I'm sorry.
rang.
I'm sorry. You rang. You were calling for your co-host, the best female co-host from Facebook Planet, Kim Brio.
Whoa,
Look at my eyes.
roll.
With my eyes rolling.
And what I want to do right now, I want to introduce our special guest. She's going to give her resume and what she got popping right now. So swinging it to the middle. State your name and purpose.
Yes, this is your girl, Jasmine. I come onto this show as well. You know, I have my new show starting up, Candid Chicago Chat, with Scene TV Chicago as well. So I come on at 4:30 on Tuesdays. So you might want to tune in and just see what's popping in Chicago, what's happening.
Yes.
All right.
Now, people, we got a slapper of a. Anybody copy?
We already got that is your
It's
official
just
hashtag.
copywritten.
Listen.
Slapper of a
topic.
We're gonna, you know what we're gonna do? When we do a Real Talk t-shirt, we're gonna put that in the back, a hashtag slapper.
I need somebody like this.
Right.
Slapper of a topic.
Well, people, listen, we have a slapper of a topic because we really do have a slapper of a topic. If you saw the episode last Tuesday, we dived into women. Time to be held accountable. And it got real heated. There was a lot of things that were said.
I had to put up this
A lot of fervor. Once again, he did a disclaimer and eliminated himself from the man group. But it's okay. Protected itself.
It's called insurance. I don't know what you're talking about.
She should be your writer. You see how she saved your reputation.
I already got the outfit on for it.
But today, she sure does. Guess what we gonna do today? Guess what we gonna do today? Because I really wanna know. You know what we gonna do today? We gonna turn it around. It is time for men to be accountable for all of their actions.
What actions?
All the actions that we do. Because we can't just put it on the females. We gotta understand that this is a two-way street. And if it's a two-way street, then that 50% on the other side gotta be held accountable. But before we do that, we gotta get into a little bit of something we call town hall business. Steven City P, you got somebody?
Shout out once again to our brother in arms who we just had on a roundtable this last Saturday, Reggie Price. He is about to start his own podcast coming up soon. It's called I Might Be Wrong, But I Doubt It. That's the name of his podcast. It's coming up real soon. I actually said it's dropping this Saturday, so be sure to look out for that podcast. Shout out to our good brother in arms, my younger brother, JMC, who's been our residential DJ on our Thursday show. He's been a residential DJ for a lot of places, for Governor State University as well.
Right.
So be sure to check out some more of his music. Is coming soon.
Yes.
Yes.
Kim Brio, what you got on here?
I do. Oh, see, because you already knew. My shout out is to a good friend of mine. I was in high school with her, Portia, and her brand is Fashion Misfits, and she's like been dropping stuff and dropping heat. But I had to wear my hoodie today because it's a whole vibe. This is my get money.
Now, I would say get up and let people see it, but
They can see that this is my get money.
she's kind of short people, so
Yeah, this is
You won't be able to see me over
these
the
are high
table.
chairs
It's a
too.
bit
Yeah,
of a
listen, we're not gonna talk
Still
about
show.
the vertically challenged people, but I'm not gonna grow because I'm past 30.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
We done with all that. We done
But
did that.
but shout out to Portia and Fashion Misfits. Definitely go and grab your hoodie, and she customizes them too if you want to be swaggy. So
All right. Miss Jasmine, do you have someone that you would like to put in the spotlight?
Well, I can't think of anybody right off the well, other than of course, you know, my amazing associates right here that have allowed me to be on their show.
Wow.
So I want to thank Donte
I
and
appreciate it.
Kim and Steven. Thank you for allowing me to sit here today and talk with you again on this amazing platform. So I'm ready to do what it do.
Can she be
These
my
beautiful
lawyer too?
people.
Okay. Can she be my lawyer too?
She got to go to law school first.
No,
She
you
got
can't.
it down. She got the.
She got the whole outfit on. I
Look
mean,
down.
Listen, one at a time, okay? She has to represent me first in my legal
you gonna be in trouble faster than me. So
Exactly.
it's
You need to be like.
You look like you should be in trouble right now.
I look like you said. I look like I work Brink security. Okay, that's what I do.
Yes,
That's
you
what
do.
I do.
So he has priority first.
And a Black Panther at the same time. I don't know why. Right.
People, that was funny. That was funny. Last but not least, I would like to give a shout out to our affiliates. Shout out to Scene Chicago TV. First.
Yes.
Shout out to Scene Chicago TV for allowing the show to happen. And shout out to UBN, Urban Broadcast Media.
UVM is everything.
Yes.
UVM is everything.
Stay in tune with the movement,
I'm
people.
trying to tell you.
BM.
Ooh, they might have to have you do that on the thing. That was
You
good.
found your calling.
That was
Leave
it.
radio all together.
That
Go to
was
voice.
it.
Voice over.
I'm saying that was
Man.
it.
I thought he cued me in.
Right.
Jesus Christ. Listen, that found your
Told
calling.
you, man, EA Sports thing. It should be
Keep on moving
Trying to
forward.
tell you.
Keep on moving forward. Anybody got any other things to shout out?
Shout out to, one more thing, shout out to everybody who was watching us on the Facebook live streams from our respective devices, from the UBM.
From the
live-
respective devices.
Right, respective devices, we know we're all streaming. From the UBM Facebook live stream, thank you for joining us. Please, if you guys have any questions or comments, we're all open for them.
Sure is. And the number to dial, because this is an interactive show, is
Yes.
312-754-4333. Once again, that's 312-754-4333. And since we got all that out the way, let's get into this slapper of a topic, because I think the women in here
I got my notepad ready.
is ready to do it.
We ready.
They ready to get it.
She ready.
Apparently
You ready?
they are.
She ready?
She ready.
She ready?
Apparently
You
they are.
ready?
Mhm.
That's what it was.
All right.
So what?
Now, let's.
You don't look excited.
Because I'm about
He
to
do
be,
not look excited.
because I don't understand what exactly, shoot, go ahead.
Now, people, like I said, from that last show we had, we talked about why women should be held accountable. And for the most part, I thought we had some understandable reasons why we should question the feminine culture, right? Well, today, we're gonna switch that up, and we're gonna get into it. Might see a little difference here. Okay, people? Because whatever we're going to talk about, I hope we get in depth with it. I hope we understand what we're talking about. And like I always say, you might agree with me. You might disagree. But the one thing we're trying to do with these platforms is learn from each other. Because we all have difference of opinions and different perspectives, because we all have different walks of life. So whether you like it or not, open your mind up to it. Maybe you'll learn something that you didn't know. And with that being said, let's open up the floor. Y'all ready for this?
Let's go.
I got the first question. Now, there is this thing that women feel that men are always trying to highlight the wrong in them. So what I really want to know from my panel, and I'm swinging this to you, Kim, why is it that you feel that men are always blaming women for the man's shortcomings?
Why do you all do this?
Why do we do this?
Oh, that is so difficult.
What do we do? I'm sorry.
What, okay. Listen, just so y'all know, his stance is just like this in regards to this conversation. Like he's ready to fight already or whatever. But for his sake, I will go ahead and define that for him and tell you when it happens and then possibly go into why I think it happens. But typically when you're having a conversation with a man, be it a personal level or a larger level, and it's like, you know, you did this wrong, or you cheated, or you this, or you that, it seems to always turn around, well, you did this. And that's on a smaller level, but on a larger level, even in regards to this show, and I love y'all, but on a larger level, I feel as though a lot of times black men are always coming from the angle of anger for these preconceived ideas of grandeur that they think black women have. Like we do this black woman magic thing, and y'all really think we have something extra, and we really don't. I mean, it's really kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week. Like, you guys think that we have all these advantages, and we really don't. And you guys almost are upset It feels like sometimes black men are upset about what black women have.
Sometimes it comes off like
and
that.
on the other end of it, we're sitting here like we're struggling as well. Like I don't know what gives you guys the illusion, maybe because we got some degrees that don't mean nothing. Okay, like the papers don't mean anything because past that point we still got to get out there and hustle past it and do.
Right.
But it feels unfair.
So you feel that because we're so caught up in our own shortcomings and what we feel that society is doing to us, we can't look at our partners and say, well, dang, they going through some struggles themselves.
That's literally, you summed it up well. That's my problem with black men right now, is that I feel like black men are so tied into their problems as black men, and I think that on a larger scale, black women are tied into the struggle of black people.
Miss Jazzy, I want you to chime in on that.
So you want me to go off with her question?
I want you to chime in. I want you to give me your flavor of how you feel about it.
Well, at the end of the day, I also kind of feel like black men could do a little bit more when it comes to the support. See, I worked in an organization where I helped out children in, the low income status situation.
Right.
So I was in camps that like summer camps that helped out. It discouraged me when I heard little boys, teenage boys, 14, 15, saying, I would never date a black girl. Oh, low key.
Wow, really?
Never ever
Yeah.
do that. And I've heard it a couple times. And I was driving one of the vans and I was like, I'm tempted to turn around and slap the car mess at you. Do you not realize a black woman is driving this car? Like, I'm just like, so what? And I asked him, so what made you say that? And I was like, is it your mama? Like, I didn't mean to say it like that, but I said, you
So you
raised
called-
by a black
What
woman.
You said his mama.
What tainted you? Like, and he was just
You
like, what
said
you
his
mean?
mama like that.
I did, but he was just like, what you mean by my mama? and he's a bigger kid.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? So he's big, 14-year-old. I was like, yeah, I'm just asking about your mother. I had
She was like, what I was trying to say was.
Yeah, and he was like, my mama, she's a classy woman. She's classy.
He said
And
classy and
that's what he said. He said classy just like that.
That's what I say that.
And
This is a different dude. I was about to say. you
just
have to
all
give that to
together.
someone.
But then the passenger, he said, no, I know him. His mama is not. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, okay. But at the end of the day, I get it. Somebody will say it's women. We the ones responsible. But at the end of the day, not all of us, can be put into that same category. When I hear young black women saying, young black men saying that to start out with, I'm just like, why would you diss where you come from? You know what I'm saying? Why would you bite the finger, the hand that feeds you? I just don't get it. So I'm
The womb that made you.
The womb that made you. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
get it.
I'm on the same page as Kim with that. I want to know, why is this still happening?
Why are y'all angry?
Why are we angry? Are you asking me directly?
Why are you? No, I know why you're angry. Rephrase. Why are you angry at us?
Who says we're angry?
Before I swing
That
into
right
city
there, when you said,
peace-
who said we angry? That.
Before I swing into city peace, I want to accurately answer your question. I think one of the reasons why black men are angry at black women is because we feel you all took the deal. Do you understand what I mean by that?
With the white man?
Yeah, we feel that it may not have been you directly who took the deal, meaning your generation, but because your mothers and your grandmothers took the deal of the programs that were out for the black people, and which basically negatively affected the black men, where they was going in places, and if I see shaving cream in this house, you gotta go. If I see anything resembling a man in here, you and your kids is out. I believe that it's a generational curse at this point for the black man to say that you basically sold me out. And it's hard to recover from that because you create a generation of little boys with single mothers that the father can't really give his influence to give that other side of the story. So I think we just carry that curse and carry that curse. But I'm gonna let my man City P say a little bit about what he feel about this situation.
All right, in all seriousness, I think it's more so because the black woman's issues and plights have been more publicized than a black man's issues.
Okay.
So there might be a little bit of an envious, but there's also could be a disconnect or misinterpretation because there's so much glorification on black women's plight in media, also the praising of their excellence and their achievements, that even when it comes to a black man, when their achievements, it's almost like it's even non-existent or it's getting ridiculed. For instance, and this is actually a very interesting point you brought up, because I remember seeing a topic post. It was actually about Derrick Rose.
Okay.
And Derrick Rose, remember that everybody knows that game he scored. It was a 50-point game. Yeah, 50-point game, and everybody in Chicago. They're still talking about it. It was emotional.
I was in here.
Everybody was charged up, and then people loved that. You know, the city of Chicago praised that because he was one of our own Chicago kids. It was like, yeah, it was all over social media. But then you couldn't help it. There was a couple of black women. I have to say black women because those are mostly the ones.
Right.
Brought up the fact of the charge he had 5 years ago.
And just for people that don't know what you're talking about with the charge.
The charge was that he was accused of involved in a rape charge with a young lady about 4 or 5 years ago when he was in New York, when he was a member of the New York Knicks. This was soon after he got traded from the Chicago Bulls.
Right.
And it was supposed to be in LA or something, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be in LA. The
Yeah,
woman charged him and his accomplices with rape. Now, the charges were, he was found not guilty because there wasn't enough, I believe there wasn't enough evidence to swear it, and the witness was incredible, and there was proof and testimony to prove that she willingly consented to this, whatever that happened in that night. So they kind of dropped the charges on it, so he walked free. But women tend to still hold that level of accusations over his head. So when it came down to this moment, that was automatically like that, brought up to the point like, well, I would glorify him, but he was accused of rape.
So let me ask you a question. That's a very interesting
heavy,
introspective.
Well, I was going to bring it to one.
But let me ask you this question before we go to break. Do you feel that because of things like that, like examples you just gave, black men subconsciously have grown to dislike black women because they feel that they have became their enemies?
No, I think it's because that black men feel that they need the approval of black women every single time when they achieve a certain level of excellence. Like it's almost like they can't have a moral victory without a black woman holding their hand up with them. And that might cause a little resentment because it's like you're never going to get that universal approval because there's always a black woman.
Well, what I'm hearing that you say is that if it's going to cause bitterness, some type of resentment, because when I'm at my apex, it seems to be a black woman, and I'm strictly talking about in Derrick Rose, that trial. It seems to be a black woman that is kind of pulling me down from excellence.
Yes.
So to me, it seemed like that the black man would subconsciously have some type of fervor, some type of I have to look out for her, resentment.
Yes.
Just habitual resentment.
But it's almost like, why can't you just be happy for me when I succeed?
Right.
And why does it always have to be when at your permission I have to succeed?
Oh, so, okay. And we're gonna shoot to Miss Cambria.
So like listening to what you said, something really resonated with me. It was like, this culture right now celebrating black women, right?
Mm-hmm.
And celebrating black excellence, etc. Right? I kind of wanted to dig into that because you listing that as a form of a reason why y'all are a little angry with us.
Mm-hmm.
I have to unpack that because the thing that I want you to know about that whole movement, the Black Girls Rock, the Black Girl Magic, we started that.
Right.
For sure.
And we started that because no one else was doing that for us.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on one thing because we're about to go to break. I want to say this. I believe one of the other reasons why black men are somewhat mad at you is because some of the things that you think you started, that you take credit for, you actually don't see that a masculine white energy actually started it for you. So it seems as though a lot of your eyes is wide shut, but you're taking credit for it. And because men, we have to be accountable physically because if you don't provide, you're out on your butt.
Okay.
If somewhere in Pacific, you and you're living on a cot, we see it, it affects us. And we look at you and say, I understand that the black woman has made it in a sense, when we're just talking about socially, but why don't you see that you're making it in parallel to that black man going down, because it works in the inverse. If the black woman goes up, the black man is going to go down. It's not a vacuum.
That's
it's not
the
separate.
part that I'm not sold on.
You're not sold on that?
That's the part that I'm not sold on.
Well, when we get back from break, we're
See,
going
you
to
have to sell me on that. You have to sell me on that.
This is Donte Chase Bridges, Real Talk with Donte Chase Bridges, and we will see you in a minute. Peace.
UBM Radio.
Actually, it said, it's already 2 Australian white men that actually co-opted Black Lives
Well,
Matter.
I was talking about the Black Girls situation, and Black Girls Rock, I know was started by Beverly Brown, but I have a question for you in
But
regards
she
to
was
that.
co-opted by Viacom, which allowed her
Okay,
to do it
so
on
this goes to my question. This goes to my question. With all due respect, at the end of the day, Black women really don't have our own self individual power. We don't.
Right.
And
I
we
think,
gotta depend on somebody.
I think one of the
So
reasons why
how-
black men are mad is because we understand that and we're looking at that. But you have the confidence in that air, that entitlement that you are starting this yourself. And we're saying that if you didn't have this person that's trying to push their agenda, that's allowing you to be in this position, you wouldn't be in this position.
But then when you say that, it takes and removes any power or influence or anything that Black woman has put into that. The Me Too movement, you could talk about Tarana Burke is a Black woman. She birthed that movement. Now what that movement turned into is something else.
You remember when I asked you this question
Beverly
about,
Brown birthed
I
Black
asked you this
Girls Rock.
question
You
about this
understand what I'm
on
saying?
Tuesday. I said, do you think that white women actually at some point help black women? That would be one of the prime examples of the Me Too movement, because it was a,
They tainted it.
no, they co-opted you into doing their bidding. And that's something that we as black men, we see it because we.
But how is it their business if it was a Me Too movement speaking on sexual assault?
Because a lot of times,
Because it hit close to like.
what I feel is a lot of times women take things for face value, and it's not a face value thing. That's what they said it was. But the Me Too movement should have went on with Harvey Weinstein, and Weinstein is still
But here's the thing,
alive.
I'm talking, but here's the thing though, that's what I mean. They took this and destroyed the Me Too movement existed years
We're
before
mad at y'all.
a white woman took it
We're
and
mad at y'all
weaponized it.
because, like I said last week, even with the civil rights movement, white women integrated and co-opted into the civil women's liberty movement. And it seems as though y'all not seeing the pattern of them taking advantage.
Okay, so how do we then operate? Because let me ask you a question, because as I hear this, then I hear, don't use the powers that be, so how do we operate? Do we just sit still?
The best thing that I think y'all gonna have to do, which y'all not gonna like, y'all gonna have to completely take yourselves out of the system. All right.
What is that?
What's going on? Oh man, if
I
you
wish
was,
y'all was here during the break.
if y'all was here during the break, we was having that real talk. So we're gonna start back into it, but we're gonna kind of go a little bit to the left because we got a lot of questions I want to get done. I want people to understand. So
Well, I do have a question, because me and this Jazzy over here had a little conversation, because she was looking up what you talk about Black Lives Matter,
Right.
and she's looked up the definition of who 3 women who started that movement.
Right.
Now, I want you, because you said there was actually Black Lives Matter, which started by 2 Australian men. Could you please clarify that for
So there's a difference between front faces and who actually start something, the founders, the agenda that's being
Mhm.
pushed. If I wasn't, and correct me if I'm wrong, there was a bit of a feministic approach to the 3 black
They were
women.
both 3 femmes, yes.
There were 3 feministic approaches.
Yes.
And what I'm trying to get across in the best way possible is, even with Black Lives Matter, like it's you can look it up. When you do the research, it was started by white men in Australia. It just was. I didn't make this. You have to understand that every time you see something about Black Lives Matter that they host on, different shows, there is an agenda being passed, and there's always something that goes along with it. In Black Lives Matter example, feminism, the Me Too movement, an agenda to put some people in jail and keep some people out. Because now that Me Too movement has died down, have you heard too much about the Me Too
No.
movement?
Well, I said not after the
That's
Age
a whole
Argento
nother-
situation.
That's a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
nother
Because-
conversation.
Yeah,
Ever
and you
since-
know what? I don't want to get too
Let's not
much
get too
off
into it.
topic.
Right.
So this is what I want to do right now.
I have a question for you.
What's going on?
I have a question for you based on what you're saying. Like, I'm hearing what you're saying, and you're saying, like, part of the reason that black men are upset is because you guys feel like we're taking advantage of some of the situations and things put in place by the white man and by society, right? To get these things done. I asked you something really instrumental
Okay.
when we were off air, and I'm going to ask you again on air.
Okay.
If that's the case, being real, black women don't have power in society, right?
Right.
So we don't have any resources to do anything. So you're saying don't use their resources.
Right.
Okay, y'all not giving us no resources.
Right.
So what is it that you want us to do? Because it feels like you're saying just be still.
This is a twofold question. On the black man's perspective, the first thing the black man has to do is break away from this relationship culture we have. Go in a corner, get our stuff together as far as economically, so when we come back, we can present actual solutions. Because I understand, don't think I don't understand that the woman wants to be with the man. The black woman specifically wants to be with the black man. But they feel that they have to survive before we can be together. And if you can't actually help me to survive, it's hard for me to give all my trust and say you're the leader of the household, right? We understand that. So that's why this question is twofold. Black men, we need to unite, start to form our own economic system. And it ain't gotta be too much big. You can barter. Somebody got houses, you got cars. That means that we all got houses and cars. If
And
we all
grow food.
he grow
and
food.
He do this. And he got property.
If we all men in here right now, I own houses, you own a grocery store, you got the gas stations.
Right.
And so now we're helping each other. That's the type of economy that we need to start as black men.
How do we survive in the midst? While y'all are in the corner, while the black man is in the corner, getting everything together, getting us a place made. What we supposed to do?
This is the paradigm that black men are actually mad about. Because what we want you to realize is, the way you just asked that question, that's specifically and exactly what we are going through. We are not thriving and we are not surviving. We are hanging on by our bootstraps. Just the way that you wish you need security in life, we wish we had the same security. But as black men, we don't have security at all. We don't really have programs. And when I mean programs, we got programs.
I mean, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
There are things, but
However, that's still, I would think that as far as the topic goes for this episode, that still wouldn't be enough today, even that when we have all these programs and so on and so forth.
I wouldn't say all these.
Well, okay. Well, the programs that you just mentioned, that still doesn't give black men the excuse that they haven't even tried hard enough to make this system work for them.
Well,
did they just take accountability?
No. Well, this is what I would say. Okay, well, this is what I would say about that.
Okay.
It's true that black men as a whole, and this is two-part too,
Right.
haven't took accountability for the fact that they can't make this system work. Why can't you get it in this system? Why can't you get it how you live in this system?
Well, we know why.
Well, one thing that we factor out is we always talk about economics. We always talk about politics. But let's talk a little bit about psychology. Men and women are built completely different from each other. So let's take me for example. Now, I would consider myself a more dominant man. And it's hard for me to go into a workplace where I feel I would have to capitulate or subdue my inner masculinity. And it's not that I'm on a table beating my chest. Y'all gonna
But
do
you
this
don't want to have to
machine.
turn down who you are.
Exactly. I don't want to have to change my culture, which I've been told several times in my life. I don't like the way you talk. I don't like the way you speak. Could you not say all like that? And I might be talking to maybe a Caucasian man that has a southern accent in Dallas, Texas, but he's telling me to change my dialect. So when you're dealing with a man, one thing that we want and one thing that we have is integrity. And not saying that women don't have integrity, some but not all. Okay, we're speaking in generalities,
Yeah,
not
no,
absolutes.
No, that face wasn't that shit. I was reading a comment and
You gotta say something.
I gave you the face. Y'all, I think that I said these guys, I ain't gonna fight you.
I'm looking at a face like this.
I was like,
Here we go
So it's like
again.
that?
Kim's a lady.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm always a lady. I might fight you though.
But to be quite honest, the black man's psychology, and just men in general, if you're speaking of that, it's hard for us to subdue or submit ourselves in an environment that basically will shame us, make us feel less than, or just tell us what to do
That's
all
your
the
environment.
time.
Right.
That's all
your
our
world.
That's our world. It's for me. And like I said, right now I have more degrees than a thermometer. That is not me saying I'm better. That's actually me saying that I'm coming from both perspectives. I'm not coming from the perspective of somebody that's just, oh, I'm tired, I'm sick of this. I've been to the top flight PWIs, which being University of Minnesota, and I've also been to predominantly black colleges like Chicago State University. So I can speak on both perspectives of how you get treated as a black man when you're trying to go up in corporate America. So what I'm saying, a lot of the most respectful, intelligent, brilliant black men that also have their integrity and know where they come from. Because even though I feel that I'm intelligent, I still know I come from West Pullman, South Side, Wild Hunnets. That's where I come from. And I would never break that or capitulate to a corporate structure just so I can make a paycheck. And I think a lot of times, when we're not even dealing with like the bum dudes that just don't want to do nothing.
The F-boys.
Yeah, when we're not dealing with that, when we're just dealing with men that just want to make a way for themselves.
Right.
They don't want to have to submit themselves because psychologically that will
Break them.
kill you.
Because we will break them.
Right,
Because it will
exactly.
break us.
It will break
because we've already feel like we've sacrificed so much being black men, and we've already gone through so much because the system is not going to allow us to succeed anyway.
And I'm gonna swing it to y'all after I say this. So we're kind of stuck in this paradigm of, I know I have to make money in this system, but I know I can't let someone mistreat me and make me feel less than
In the
man.
process.
Right.
Because when I come home to my black woman, somebody gonna pay.
Right.
Somebody gonna pay, and it's just it's law of thermodynamics. Energy is neither destroyed
Created or
nor made.
destroyed.
It's just
It's
transferred.
transferred.
So somebody gotta pay for me feeling like a second-class citizen trying to get it in this white corporate
And
America.
then that's when we get into.
And that's when the
And that's a
things.
that's a perfect, if I may ask a question, because that was my perfect segue question. We talking about accountability, and I just kind of got to call the elephant out of the room and ask you guys' opinion on this. We kind of touched on F-boys a little bit.
Okay.
How are we,
PG.
can we talk about?
Easy.
Yes, no, absolutely. Can we talk about the accountability of lack of integrity with the mass majority of men? Can we talk about lack of responsibility, drive, motivation, a lot of those things that we've talked about over the weeks that I've expressed? Is there any way that y'all can touch on that and expound on that? Because if we're talking about accountability, we can talk about all of this, but as a woman, I want to hear a black man talk about some of the stuff that is most upsetting to me. The
Did
lack
you
of
hear that?
integrity.
Yeah.
I want you to give your personal opinion about that.
Well, it's a very controversial opinion. I would say the men that type of men that you're describing right now are just garbage level. And I made that very clear to the past that they are garbage level. And this is almost speaking from a personal preference. There are some of the people, type of men that you described that we all know what you're talking about, really irritate me. Those are the ones who are not achieving what they're supposed to be achieving. These are the ones that are disrespectful. These are the ones that are intolerable. These are the ones that have no resolve. These are the ones that are too immature. They're the ones who have to act out as much as possible to get their way. It's very, for lack of a better word, not to be disrespectful, but feministic.
I understand though. And I don't take that.
They don't have
I
feminine
understand.
affects, it's just that they got that
The-
feminine energy.
Energy,
Okay,
yes.
that's what you
So,
trying to say.
because they can't control
Yeah.
that anyway, well, understandably so, they have not been taught to control that in any way.
Their
shape, or form.
emotions. So they're more emotional like us
Right.
versus.
So, but that does not excuse them it doesn't excuse them to not act appropriately or act like they have some common sense.
Do you think that that's the norm? Because as a black woman, this is my question to you, because I hear like your whole definition, and it was almost presented in a way like, oh, those are the garbage guys, right?
And that's some,
This is
Kim,
my question.
this is something that I
Is
want to
that the
chime in on.
norm?
This is what I want to chime in
Because I
on.
think it's the norm.
And I'm gonna swing it to you, Jasmine. I agree with something that you said, but I gotta disagree.
What?
And I'm disagreeing because I wanna be transparent about this, because what happens is, if you don't like what something feels like, you tend to throw it in the garbage and say, that's not you, disassociate yourself. Let's take accountability. And the first thing we're gonna do, I'm going to be accountable for myself with the same things that she said. I don't consider myself a F-boy.
We're gonna use garbage level dude.
Garbage
That
level
was so
dude.
much more PC.
Yes.
Good job,
From-
teamwork.
Yeah, dumpster juice type of dude. I don't consider
Dumpster
myself.
Dumpster juice?
What?
That's just gross.
I don't consider myself that, but when I had to trace back my life, I have done some things to women And as far as even motivation is concerned, because there was a part of my life where I wasn't motivated to do anything.
Right.
I was completely at a standstill, and I would tell you one of the reasons why I had a lot of these dumpster juice qualities is because I truly didn't have someone to show me what my life purpose was, and so I spent a good amount of my years searching and frustrated and angry and hurt because I didn't grow up with my father. And we have to understand that when a man or a boy or someone says, even a woman, that they didn't grow up with their father, it's not an excuse. Do you know what a father instills in children? He instills discipline, something that I didn't have. He instills work ethic, something that I didn't have. He instills purpose. He instills some protection.
Self-worth.
Self-worth. He lets you, have you ever seen a movie where it's a scene where they have a rite of passage? A man, he goes through a ceremony.
And he gives him
And
his
he gives
baseball
him-
glove or something.
Or he goes into the woods, leaves him there for 2 days, he comes back and he's
Yeah.
Oh, man, now.
Well,
That's
see,
got it.
one thing that I feel men, boys, innately need is a rite of passage. And when you're dealing with the single mom epidemic, you're not having men that pass down that now you are the man. You are the one, I'm giving the torch to you.
You gotta hold the household down.
Yeah, and because that creates an energy inside of a boy.
Of
Which-
accountability.
Yes. And a lot of times, and I'm gonna swing it to you, a lot of times if men, you would be surprised if you put a man in a situation where he had to be accountable. Said point, if, let's say you had a deadbeat dad, and the reason why you don't wanna deal with him is because he don't do nothing, so I want him as far away as possible. If you would allow that deadbeat dad sometimes to come around that child, you're gonna find out that he's gonna start to do things that you wouldn't expect, because everybody know kids need stuff. And nobody wants to keep telling the child no.
And you gotta allow the
Yeah,
opportunity to.
even a
to do
deadbeat
it.
father. So you'll find out that actually that deadbeat dad is somebody that's lost trying to find himself too. But you just give him that accountability of saying, here, I want you to be with that child. 9 times out of 10, he's gonna show some characteristics you didn't even think he had.
That you didn't expect.
But you gotta give him a chance. Steve, what's
Okay,
up,
real quick before we go to Jazz, I had a question.
What's going on?
Do you believe a father should teach his son self-control?
Mm.
Because that, in my opinion, that is where the real the line has to get
That was
drawn.
heavy.
Okay.
Because that's the line that has to get drawn in this.
Give me your
Because,
quick
real quick
synopsis.
scenario, because even if you give them a rite of passage, are they mentally capable and mentally tough enough to be able to handle that rite of passage? And if they're not, then that's kind of all in vain because they're not mature enough to handle it. Even in a single parent household, they're definitely not going to be mature enough to handle it. So in essence is that when is it possible, even when you give them this type of background, this type of energy to do so, can they, while they're strong enough to control that?
When you have a father that over time, years, minutes, seconds, not telling their son something, but showing them by example,
Yeah,
being there for him,
exactly.
subconsciously his mind shifts to the point where he is waiting for that moment that he can show
That
his
he
dad.
can do that.
That he can do it. And you wanna know how? Every dude that grew up with some type of real male role model has tried to test their father, to test their male role model in some type of physical way. You wanna know what that is? He's trying to show the father,
So that's all men is.
I am ready to be a man subconsciously.
Right.
So if you had a single parent and he just did that, yeah, it might be some resistance. But that's why black men have to be in their kids' life from the beginning to the end. I want to swing to Jazz and see how you feel about that.
Well, I'll just say that while I enjoy what this part of the conversation is going into, I kind of want to not so much change, but kind of shift the conversation into back to the accountability. I want to talk about media-wise. You know, I'm gonna come from the point of view of someone who just got out of college, young black woman, and you two.
Now, I want to give you this option because we're about to go to commercial.
Yeah.
You want to hold that, and when we come back, we're going right into it.
Yeah, let's do it. We can do
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
I like this talk, y'all.
Yes. I told you it's going to be a little
And
different.
we not even fighting y'all, and y'all not fighting
Yeah,
us.
because it's not
Look at us getting along.
because it's not about women being held accountable. That's right.
What we're not gonna do, see,
Come on,
that's when the
come
sin
on.
comes from.
I'm just saying.
Let's go to commercial before they see me.
I'm just
Okay,
kidding.
I don't want them to hear me fight.
We don't want-
Listen, people, I hope you enjoying what we're talking about. In a couple of more seconds, we're going to take a brief commercial. And when we get back, we're going to swing it to Jazzy because she's going to come from a different perspective or a different angle about this. Real Talk with Donte Chase Bridges, Scene Chicago, UBM. Stick around.
Yes.
UBM Radio.
Oh, look, Reggie said something. Reggie said, if a respected man is in the equation, things change.
Oh, let me read y'all this comment this girl
Yeah,
made.
so
This girl said, let me read y'all this comment.
what's going on, everybody? Shout out to Earl Chisholm, man. I see what you're saying. You're saying a lot of good information. And as a matter of fact, man, I wish you would call up here, man. Earl Chisholm, I'm gonna give you the number 312-754-4333. Earl Chisholm.
Reggie, if you're still there, can you please clarify?
312-754-4333.
Because we're sitting there watching you, we know you're lying, we know you're watching. Please
All right.
clarify what you're saying.
We're gonna get to that. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. You see, Steve? We're going to get to that. But before we do anything going with that, we gotta get to some subjects, okay?
No, this is just for.
All right, so call in, all right? Now, I'm gonna get that number one more time, 312-754-4333. Because I like your perspective where you're coming from, all right? Earl Chisholm, yeah. Shout out to my Moorish family.
When I grow up, I want to be a glass countertop and a new home. When I grow up, I want to be a football stadium.
Is that what you
Okay, he's responding. He says, if that man can specify the boy, the rite of passage thing won't help.
When I grow up,
Okay, if the number is 312-754-4333. Once again, that's 312-754-4333.
You have to end it with a hashtag, Reggie. You didn't mention, he had to end, he's got to be such that person. He's got to
So you can call in at any time. We on for another 19 minutes. Love to get your perspective, but we gotta make it short and quick to the point. All right?
Trisha, honey, how are you? Dawson, what's going on? Brian, what's up, people?
All right. We are back at it again. Real Talk with Donte Chase Bridges, and we're trying to hold these men folk accountable for their actions. Men folk. Now, before we left, we were talking to Jazzy, and she had a different dynamic that she wanted to introduce.
Yes.
Jazzy, you on the spot.
Yes, you know what, I would like to just kind of spin things a little bit and talk from the perspective of someone who just graduated from college last year. Media is out there, TV, all this stuff. You know, like we watch all these things, and we talk about how, well, we have to get in the corner, we have to make sure the black man is getting ready first. So then, as we're waiting and stuff like that, once you come out there, and then you have this platform. Now, I'm going to go straight to it with the girl you're working with, starting from there to booty, rocking everywhere.
Let's
talk about accountability, but she didn't read it.
And then we get straight into the, tell little mama what you can hear. And going into that today, like, you would have thought that from back then to now, we would have changed how women are appearing. Women are still doing the, booty shaking and all this other stuff, like twerking all day and working. Now, women are still being subjugated. And I would have said just black women, but that's not always the case because even rock music does this too, where they're spraying water on a woman and making her look like she a groupie. Right. Before I go into that part, I want to also mention that even straight out of Compton, because if I want to sit here and talk about how black men will sit here and do, straight out of Compton, they're missing a vital character in that movie.
What's the girl name?
Yo-Yo.
Oh, I thought you was talking about somebody, Dr. Dre's.
Yeah,
You're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right there.
Forgot her name.
She is missing out of that movie. How is that happening? And not only that, but also Dre, didn't Dr. Dre, he had an interview with somebody, and he also assaulted a woman, a journalist, her name was Dee Barnes.
Okay, he's known.
Oh,
This is what he does.
Okay.
This is what Dre do.
Okay.
Dre do that.
He do. And now those two things have been, taken out of the movie, weren't even put into the movie, maybe they were thought about, but they say, let's not do that. But then, and now before how are the women portrayed in that movie? Like they're either mothers, girlfriends, or groupies.
And this is what I gotta say
about that.
about
Was it Felicia in that movie for a second?
Right. This is what I gotta say about that. You are absolutely right. And I know every time I say that, I'm coming, bow, and I hit you in the back of the head.
Right.
But actually, I do agree with you. And this is where I think black men still need to go and take accountability. Because now, if the black woman bought the deal, the black man has sold his pride, his integrity, and his manhood in order to make a buck. And where I feel that black men need to take accountability, a lot of times we use this thing, we say, well, I'm only rapping or talking or in a movie about what I went through. But they don't take responsibility for the fact that if you show this in repetition to a young black boy, you are teaching them all this domestic violence in NWA, straight out of Compton. You're teaching them all about gangster music, even though gangster music was, you know, oh my God, it was great at its time. Gangster music had a negative effect on a lot of people's psyche.
On the society.
Yeah.
Negative connotation on people's psyche. So one thing I have to say to black men, it's time to take accountability for the fact that you can't put garbage on the internet.
Right.
You can't put negative stereotypes on the internet and say it's just your life experience. You have the responsibility to show the other side, because if you're in a position to do that, then you've made it by some point. Why can't you highlight the fact that you went through trials and tribulations and made it out on the other side? Why do you always have to highlight the fact that it's about gangster rap? And I think black men sold their manhood because that's the only way they feel they can make it out. And that's why it's time for black men to get out of that. Just like how I talk about what black women getting out of the culture of corporate white America, black men need to get out of the culture of, well, this dude can make me a rap star.
Shucking and driving.
Yes.
Stepping and fetch it mentality. Almost a menstrual stroke type of mentality. Because when you turn on the radio, turn on the internet, you do see this. And it do remind you of almost a menstrual stroke. Because you clearly know that other ethnicities are looking at you like,
Really?
I can't believe they
Like, really?
allowed someone to do that for any amount of money. But I said that, I just want to know if Steven has something he wants to chime in about.
This is really a rough spot, because yes, this does tell a level of we got to take accountability for this, and the problem is that, you know, our culture, this is what we're rooted in, and we have to eliminate a big culture of our pop culture in order to get down to the nitty gritty of fixing this problem. Yes, we cannot degrade and make our black women an objectification. I think it's just the best way I'm trying to say this. We cannot objectify our black women as constantly, consistently. Now, I know we grew up in the culture of BET Uncut.
Right.
Don't
sing songs, don't sing not songs.
We all grew up in the culture,
He said that.
but we knew what anybody who's been growing up in the early 2000s knew what BET Uncut was. Y'all know. Y'all stayed up at 2 in the morning to watch that.
The more you talk about, the more I want to sing a song, man. Come
Right.
on.
No, I'm not saying that one song.
He about to get
Yeah,
caught up.
No,
He about to get
but
caught
the
up.
point is that that's the type of culture we were raised in, and we have to understand that there has to be enough self-awareness to know that that's counterproductive of what we're trying to do.
Right.
And that's counterproductive to the women that we are involved in our lives. That's counterproductive to the movement we're trying to do, to have a level of respectability. So as black men, we have to understand that in order that, think about it this way, as when you date a black woman, isn't that somewhat a reflection of yourself?
Yes.
So you would want a black woman, if you want to be held in a higher accountability or enough
You gotta
respectability,
hold
you gotta have somebody in your life that has to look.
Because
You
you
can't
are
be
a
illegal
mirror
with
of
that.
what.
You are.
Yeah,
Your
exactly.
energy will attract someone with similar energy.
Exactly. Now, I have a question. Did you have
Somebody's
something
trying to
to
call. No, I was just saying somebody's trying to call me.
Is somebody trying to call in?
Yeah, but keep going.
All right. Do we have them on the air? Do we have them on the line?
Not yet. No, I'm
Yeah,
telling
but
you, they're
the
saying
headphones.
online that they're trying to call in. So
Okay, we'll
get
be
on
on
that.
standby. I had another question that I wanted to open up. Everybody ready?
So,
So we understand the problem. So let's get kind of some solutions. Why can't black men take back their role as the heads of the black community? What's stopping them?
One thing, I gotta be honest. I know this is a black man accountability thing, but I gotta be honest because I am that black woman.
Right.
We have to let go of some of this control.
Yeah.
Like, even in dating, like I'm dating right now,
Right.
and I'm dating and I'm like, oh, I wanna date men, you know, and I meet these men and then they're men and I don't know how to interact with them.
Oh.
Because I've always had to take the lead. I've always had to be
Kimberly, I
assertive.
appreciate
I've
you for
always
saying
had
that.
to do
I
that.
appreciate
So
you for
one
saying that.
thing is that black women,
Step back.
we have to step back and allow you all to, I'm gonna say this on a smaller level, on a bigger level, allow him to open the door for you. On a smaller level, on a bigger level.
Now let me ask you another question. Do you feel that black women are not standing down? Could I say standing down? for that black man, even when he presents himself as, hey, I could take this over.
Yeah, I can definitely say that.
Well, let me say the other part of it. Do you feel they're doing that because they fear the fact that if they let a man take control, they lose all the power that they've been getting for these past 20 years?
I'm going to answer from experience.
Okay.
And you can let me know if your experience has been similar. When I did relinquish control, he led me into the wilderness. And because of that, it's difficult for me to relinquish control again.
So that brings up another part of it. Black men, it's time to take accountability of the fact that if you don't know how to lead a household, don't act right now. And that's why
you don't get married, don't have a baby.
it's so imperative that we love our black women. We love our women in general. It's time for us to love them enough to stop, let them go for a quick second, so we can learn what it takes in order to keep them in our lives. You can't just keep faking the funk, because I can see right through you, and I'm not even on the woman's side of the game. Right. So I know a woman that's looking at you, and you might have this bravado of, yeah, I can do this, I got this, I take that. Women are intuitive by nature. Yeah. And you don't have to necessarily say, I can't provide, I can't take care of you. They can feel your energy and say, you know what? This dude ain't what he say he is.
He can't do nothing for me.
He can't help me in no type of way. Only thing this is bravado. So it's time for men to step up, learn how to take care of a household. And it might be something it might go back as remedial as you have to take a class on how to be a man in a household. Right. Take a class on how
what
to
does manhood mean.
Exactly.
And
how to balance a checkbook.
Flock together.
That's true.
What kind of men
That's
are you
true,
thinking
y'all.
around this?
Since we're talking to black men, y'all have friends that do some dirty stuff.
Dirt.
Yeah.
And y'all let them, and y'all don't hold them accountable. And the thing is, you're just as guilty, even if you're not cheating on your chick. If you with the guy every week and he's cheating on his chick and you know it, and you're helping and you lying for him and all of that stuff, you're helping.
Now I gotta agree with you, and I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm just going to come from a higher level of thinking with it. I absolutely agree with you, and I'm not even going to say disagree now, because I feel that if you allow your friends to compromise the black family by when he cheats on his girl, and you just sit back and don't say nothing,
right.
You kill the black community as a whole. And sometimes as young black men, we get caught up in the fact that we want to be players, we want the bravado, we have the most women to show. But we are literally sacrificing generations, because a lot of times it ends because the man does cheat, and the woman is heartbroken to the point where she can't take it.
Can't even prepare herself.
She can't prepare herself.
And then
So
she's
absolutely
broken for
agree.
men in the future.
Exactly. You got anything to say about that?
I had to say,
Go ahead, sorry to cut you off. We got a caller on the line. State your name and where you calling from. What's going on, Earl? How you doing?
Yes, how are you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was having trouble with the headphones. What's going on?
I got you.
Okay. It be like that sometimes.
Exactly. That doesn't disrupt the dynamic.
good point.
Either we,
Yeah, that's a good point.
You heard that?
Yeah.
You can keep talking. Yes.
some,
All right, because you're making 700 good points,
Right.
but we needed it 200. Mr. Earl, we appreciate what you said. You brought some insight to the game. I appreciate you for calling in. And what we're going to do, we're going to get off the line, but we're going to chime in for these next 4 minutes. Appreciate you. Thanks a lot. You know what, he makes a really interesting point, because one thing he did say, there is some existential circumstances for why the black man is like this. World War II, when the black civil rights movement got co-opted by the women's liberty movement, and it caused the black man to be by himself. That's around when Section 8 stuff went on. So, appreciate the call, man. Thanks a lot. Now, we get into 4 minutes into the show, and what I want to do is, I just want to wrap this up. I hope everybody learns something from this situation. I hope everybody understands that this was not about a talk to downplay anyone, whether it be black men or whether it be black women. What we're trying to do as a community is stop trying to judge each other on our shortcomings. Stop saying that you did this, I did this, no, you did this. And just take accountability for what you did wrong.
Yes.
And once we take accountability for what we did wrong, go in our respective corners and work on you as a woman, and I work on me as a man or as a black
Roll
man,
together.
then we can roll together. But the first thing it takes is awareness.
yep.
So, this is almost the end of my show. What I would like to do, I would like for everybody to state who you are, what you got going on.
Kim Brio, find me at kimbrio.com where you can get everything.
Oh, get everything.
Get everything.
You gotta tell them something what's that everything.
I do web and graphic design, branding. I help small businesses begin. So, kimbrio.com, find me on any social media. I am Kimbrio, B-R-I-O.
Thanks, Miss Jazzy.
You can find me at Jasmine Stewart Little. That's on Instagram and on Facebook. Also, she worries not. She _worries_not. Okay. And if you want to be interviewed about any businesses, anything that you're doing, I would love to take you on. So you can DM me, you can message me, let me know, and we can get something going.
State that business one more time for the people.
She _. Wait, my business of the radio, yeah, okay, she _worries_not, and I am on Candid Combo, I just changed my name on my show.
Now, wait a minute. Mr. City P.
Candid Chicago Chat.
All right.
Stephen City P. Watson, one half of the Brothers Podcast. You catch us every Thursday night. Also coming real soon, 100 with City P. That's coming real soon.
Now, once again, Donte Chase Bridges, I would like to give a special shout out to Scene Chicago for making it possible for this show to be on the air. I would like to give a shout out to UBM, Urban Broadcast Media. And I would also like to give a shout out to all these intelligent black people that made this panel worth listening to. I hope everybody learns something from this, because you might not agree with me. You might not agree with Kim. You may not agree with Jazzy. You may not agree with Steve. But the one thing that we want to do is promote learning, because we're all here to learn, because we all walk through different paths of life.
Took us 2 episodes to do this accountability.
But we still got it. But we got it.
Yes, sir.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah,
we
we
got
getting
it.
it.
Anybody got anything else to say?
Love y'all, Chicago.
Yes, Chicago.
Keep it real, Chicago.
And on that note, this is Donte Chase Bridges. This is Real Talk with Donte Chase Bridges on Scene TV, Chicago. And we are out.
Don't forget to go out and vote.
Yes.
Yes, go
Join
out
us
and
next
vote.
time. Peace.
Some people, that wraps up another episode of Real Talk.
I hope you understood what we're trying to say.
Please.
Appreciate everybody for chiming in.